All right, let's finish up chapter 4. We're going to do chapter 5, I mean. Chapter 5, section 5, solving logarithmic and exponential equations. Here's some properties. Whenever we solve these things, the base exponent property if we have two numbers that have the same base and they're equal, the only way that can be is if the exponents are equal. That's one of them. Property of logarithmic equality. Log base A of m equals log base A of n we have to have the same logs and bases. How many questions are here? 27. We can do that. All right, let's look at these examples. Example 1. Solve 2 to the power 3x minus 7 equals 32. The first thing you want to do is try to get the bases to be the same if possible. So what's 32 made up of? 16 times 2. 16 is 4 times 4. 2 times 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 32 is 2 to the 5th. There are 5 2's that make up 32. So we know 32 is 2 to the 5th equals 2, 3x to the 7, 3x minus 7. Since the bases are the same, the exponents have to be equal. Now we solve for x. Add 7 to both sides. 7 plus 5 is 12. Divide by 3. X equals 4. And of course, be safe. Always check your answer. 2, 3 times 4 minus 7 equals 2 to the 5th. 12 minus 7. 12 minus 7 is 5. 2 to the 5th equals 2 to the 5th. That's a good answer. Example number 2. Solve 3x equals 20. Okay, since we know that 20 is not going to make up some factor of 3, how do we get the x out of the top? Take the ln of both sides. Whatever you do to one side, if you do it to the other side, it'll still be equal. On the left-hand side, this is the exponent, so it goes out in front. So we have x ln 3 equals ln 20. We're solving for x. So if we divide both sides by ln 3, we have our x. Just plug that in your calculator, hit enter, and it'll give you your answer. Example 3. 100 e to the power 0.08 t equals 2500. In this case, we're solving for t. That's the only variable in there. So we have to get that alone. First step, get rid of the coefficient. So divide both sides by 100. The zeros cancel, so we just have 25. Divided by 1 is 25. Since your variable is in the exponent, let's get rid of it. Let's take the ln of both sides again. Oop, that's 08t. That becomes my coefficient, so it's 0.08t times ln e equals ln 25. Get rid of the ln e, divide both sides by ln e. What is ln e? It's what? It's 1. ln is log base e. Log base e of e is 1. So we just have ln 25. So ln e is log base e of e, so it equals 1. Divide both sides by 0.08. And then use your calculator and do that. So far, so good. There aren't many rules. You just have to be able to know when to use them. Example 4. Solve 4x plus 3 equals 3 to the power negative x. Since our x's are in the exponents, let's take the ln of both sides. These are exponents, so they got in front. So we have x plus 3 ln 4 equals negative x ln 3. We have x inside of parentheses, so we have to distribute. So we have x ln 4 plus 3 ln 4 equals negative x ln 3. Same concept. Always, you have an x and you have an equal sign. Move all the x's to one side, non-x's to the other. So we subtract 3 ln 4 from both sides. Those cancels. We have x ln 4 equals negative x ln 3 minus 3 ln 4. Which one do we move now? Are all the x's on one side? No, that one's there. So we add x ln 3 to both sides. X ln 4 plus x ln 3 equals negative 3 ln 4. They both have an x's. Can I factor anything out? I can factor out the x. To get the x by itself, I just have to get rid of that. So I divide both sides by ln 4 plus ln 3. And there's our answer. You cannot remove the ln 4s. You cannot cancel those because this one is part of an equation on the bottom. It's the same if I had 2 times 3 plus 3 plus 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 plus 4 is 7. If I cancel these, this would be a 1. I would have 2 over 5. Is that the same? No. So we can't cancel indiscriminately. Example 5. Solve e to the x plus e to the negative x minus 6 equals 0. When we talk about exponentials, remember x to the power negative n. The negative n exponent doesn't make it a negative number. It just changes the location of it. Since it's above the line, it moves to the bottom and drop the negative. So this equation I can rewrite like this. Whenever you have a negative, just change it to the other side of the dividing line and drop the negative. We can't have fractions and equal sign. So multiply the LCD. What's the LCD? What's the only denominator? E to the power x. So I multiply each term by e to the power x. E to the x times e to the x. Remember, whenever you're multiplying the same bases, you add the exponents. So this is e to the 2x. E to the x cancels. And times 0, 0. So rearrange them. So I now have a quadratic equation. I have a quadratic equation. Because remember, if you take the middle term and multiply it by 2, you get the first term. Yes, so it's quadratic in form. Label A, B, C. What's A? 1. B, -6, and C is also 1. So we'll use the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is whatever's in the middle term. So we're solving for e to the power x. I always start off by writing down the formula. We have negative of a -6. -6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1. 2 times 1. Negative, negative makes it a positive. -6 squared is 36. 1 times 1 times 4 is 4, so it's -4 over 2. Six plus or minus 36 minus 4 is 32. Thirty-two is 16 times 2, 4 times 4. Once you find a pair of numbers, they can come out of the radical. So since there's 2 4s, the only thing left that stays inside there is the 2. On the top, we can factor out a 2. And those cancel. All right. We have 2 answers here. We have e to the x equals 3 plus 2 radical 2. We have e to the x equals 3 minus 2 radical 2. We have to take one of each. We're solving for x. How do we get the x down? Take the ln of both sides. Ln e to the x is simply x. Ln is x. 3 minus 2 radical 2. All you do is plug those in the calculator, and that tells you your intercepts, your solutions. Now, example 6. Any questions about that one? The hardest part about that one is to notice that it's quadratic. And that's what we have to look at them. Is it quadratic in form? Example 2, or example 6. Log base 3 of x equals -2. Solve for x. This is just a conversion. This is the base. So the base pushes up to 2x. The log drops off. It's a negative exponent, so it goes on the bottom now. Drop the negative. So x is equal to 1/9. Log of, and the last one, log of x plus log of x plus 3 equals 1. What can we do on the left-hand side? That's log of m plus log of n. We could put those together, the product rule. Because it's added, so they're both multiplied together. What's the base? 10. So the base pushes up the answer, the log drops off. So we have x plus 3 equals 10 to the first. Solve for x. Get rid of the parentheses. X times x is x squared. Positive and positive is positive. X times 3 is 3x. 10 to the first is 10. Move the 10 over. Subtract 10 from both sides. Now factor. X, opposite signs. What times what is 10? When you subtract them, you get 3. Five and 2. And the bigger number gets plus. So it's 5, 2. Then we set both of those equal to 0. X equals -5. X equals 2. These are our possible answers. Why do I say possible answers? Now we got to check your answer. Let's put the first one in there. So let's say that x equals -5. Here's the equation. So it's log of -5 plus log -5 plus 3 equals 1. Can't go any further. Remember, you can't take logs of negative numbers. So we can't use -5. Let's see it when x equals 2. Log of 2 plus 2 plus 3. Since it's a plus, we can multiply them. Two plus 3 is 5. Log base 10 of 10 is 1. So x equals 2 is our answer. Always check your answers because remember, you cannot have a negative logarithmic function. Example 8. Log base 3 of 2x minus 1 minus log base 3 of x minus 4 equals 2. So what can we do on the left-hand side? Can we combine them? Into what? Since it's a minus, it's a quotient rule. So log base 3 of 2x minus 1 over x minus 4 equals 2. So let's convert this to exponentials. The 3 comes over here, the log drops off, so we have 2x minus 1 over x minus 4 equals 3 to the power 2. Two x minus 1 over x minus 4 equals 9. Now what do? I have a fraction and an equal sign. Multiply both sides by the denominator. Two x minus 1 equals 9x minus 4. Get rid of the parentheses. So we have 9x minus 36. Move all the x's to one side. Move the smaller to the larger. So we subtract 2x from both sides. Nine minus 2 is 7x minus 36. Add 36. So 36 minus 1 is 35 equals 7x. Divide by 7. X equals 5. Any questions about that one? Okay. Here comes our last one. Ln of 4x plus 6 minus ln of x plus 5 equals ln of x. On the left-hand side, what can we do? Yeah, make it a quotient rule. Because there's a minus sign, so we have 4x plus 6 over x plus 5 equals ln x. Since they both have ln on both sides, the only way they can be equal is if 4x plus 6 over x plus 5 equals x. Multiply by the LCD, which is x plus 5, multiply that to both sides. So that cancels. Distribute, I got x squared plus 5x. Because it's quadratic, I have to make it equal to 0. Subtract 4x from both sides. Subtract 6 from both sides. 5 is bigger than 4. We can factor it. So x, second sign is a minus, so it's opposite signs. The bigger number gets the positive. What times what equals 6? When I subtract them, it equals 1. Three times 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So the 3 gets the plus. Set them both equal to 0. And these are your possible answers. They're possible until we check them. Looking at our original equation, this one here is important. If I put -3 in there, what happens? You can't. You can't have an ln of negative. So the only answer we can have is this one. X plus x equals 2 is our only answer. And that's the end of chapter 5.